Hey everybody, this is Dark Side Elite here, and I have another video for you. This is gonna be one of my second set of videos for the day. It's not gonna be in front of a camera, but this is me telling you, and this is one of my stories that I wanted to come up and talk to. It's because it's the joyful Christmas. I feel that this will be a great movie to bring out for around Christmas time, and it shows camaraderie, it shows teamwork, and it shows the Trinity, the DC Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all on a big screen, and there's solo in a basically a small team up movie. And I wanted to adapt the um the man who has everything storyline for Superman, and put that for the Trinity, because they did this in the comics before, and it was them versus the Black Mercy plant. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have it where um you have them in a world where basically for Batman, for Bruce, his parents never died. His parents never died, and it's like he woke up from a nightmare. Like he woke up from a complete nightmare. Everything he ever been through, all the trials and tribulations that made him and forced him to become Batman. And also, this is inside of Zack Snyder's universe, so the amount of turmoil he went through to legitimately go after Superman, and everything he did in Batman versus Superman, everything that happened to Jason Todd, everything that happened between him and and Dick Grayson, him and everything that happened between him and his 20 years of crime, it all to him felt like a complete nightmare. And his parents are alive. You have Matt, I forgot the actress's name. The actor and actress, I know Jeffrey D. Morgan, but the actress that plays as his mother is his mom. They got the same actors and actresses. Jeremy Irons is still Alfred. Everything is still the same in the Zack Snyder universe, except that now Bruce Wayne's not Batman. Dick Grayson is not Robin or Batman, or Jason Todd never died. All this stuff never happened. The war against crime never happened. Joker never came to Gotham City. The Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot, makes a brief appearance. Harvey Dent never became Two Face. It's showing you that it's showing you from Batman's perspective that when he put on that suit and became Batman, he felt that everything that happened in that city all was a result of him putting on the suit. And this has been his greatest regret and his greatest fear, that no matter how much he ever does to protect that city, that those criminals that he no was he the one that creates these criminals. um and the one thing that really drives him, that made him become Batman, it slowly erodes away. It feels like he's slowly starting to succumb to the reality that he's in. But knowing Bruce, he comes to slowly realize that something is not right. It feels too perfect, and you have Bruce going through a huge amount of turmoil to try to figure it all out. And at the very end, he does figure it out, and you have him at the mercy of the Black Mercy. And then and I'll get to the end story of the whole thing. For Diana, it's completely different. And I don't want you guys to think that, oh, she's in man's land and she met Steve Trevor. No, in all honesty, she never left Themyscira. She never became curious. She actually just became this great resulting warrior, and she has a lesbian lover. She's with a woman. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I have nothing wrong with it. It just makes sense. I mean, you have women on there that have relationships with other women because they grow and they don't see, the flesh as the way we do, and it kind of expresses itself that way. Like what we see as a man and a woman, they don't see that. They see as their camaraderies, and they've been together for a very long time. It just makes sense. So she never becomes curious about man's world. She's this great warrior. From her life, it's a little bit more boring, and it's not because of it's not because her life is boring or the character is boring. It's more in the fact of there's nothing really deep about her being on Themyscira. It's just she's just doing her daily warrior routine, and she's there with her lover. And and that he and that she, I'm sorry, not wow, I'm gonna call Gal a he. I'm sorry about that. That she just goes on with her merry life, and slowly her arc in this movie is really short. It's really short, and the only reason why she starts to come to terms that something's going on is that she asks her mother what's beyond the veil, and she says it's the terrible truth about the world, and you should have no concern about it. Anything that doesn't come to their land, it should be no ill concern to us. And she starts to have this weirdness that something is going on. Like no, the gods have never asked for them to go out to the, no one sent a scout, no one's done anything. And she starts to talk against her mother, which starts a little bit more of the deep, it's more of the intrigue of her character, because she's wondering, no, as a warrior, we are at the beckoning of the gods. You're telling me that everything is peaceful on the peaceful. If that's the case, then we should be able to go. We should be able to go where heck we want, which makes sense. She makes it make sense. Like, if there is peace, then why are we just on this island? Is it the will of the gods? Okay, but then why can't we know what's going on beyond the veil? And that also adds more to the mystery for her, because she's wondering, if there's peace, then why can't we go beyond the veil? Um, she's starting to show a little bit more of her curiosity, but she also is being very stern to the fact of, if there's nothing going on, then why can't we know? And it's always something like they cannot know. So that's her arc, and then she finally realizes that she thinks that Ares is messing around with her sisters, and it's not Ares, and she finds out she's the beckoning call of the Black Mercy. She doesn't know what the heck it is, and she wakes up, and then we get to her arc of the story is done. Now we get to Kal-El. Now Henry Cavill's Superman is a little bit more is a lot easier to do, mainly on this point, because at this point in this movie, he's only been Superman for about a few years, and he's only been Superman for about a handful of years. He not even not as about around 4 or 5 years, and this is supposed to take place around 3 years after Justice League. So Batman is still doing his. He's supposed to be doing his crusade to find out who's leaving these clues, and Wonder Woman is trying to figure out what the heck is going on, and she's sensing that there's something deeper going on in in this world that's beyond the machinations of the gods. And she's like, and also she's trying to look further into about Darkseid. And I have a lot of backstory about what was going on with Darkseid and everything else, and I will talk about that in another video. But for Superman, it's a little bit more deep. It's a little bit more, and it also does come back to the man who has everything, because his is going to be more in depth of that his father never died. Jor-El, he's still on. He's not on Krypton. He's on Earth. He's living on Earth. He doesn't have powers, and he's with his dad, and everything is perfectly fine. He's not an alien. The world, there is no need for a Superman, and that's his greatest one. He doesn't want to be. A part of him does not want to be Superman. A part of him wants to be a regular man, a regular person that just wants to be with the woman he loves and have a family. And that's something I really really liked about the whole situation with they did in Crisis, and that's with Tom Welling Superman, because it makes sense. Now Tyler Hoechlin's, I still don't understand that, why it makes no sense, but they just threw it in there because why not. But for Clark, for Henry Cavill's Superman, it makes sense. He's always been on the outside of things. He's never been on the inside of anything. He now has this. He has a group of friends that he can actually rely on, but he still feels that the world is his responsibility. He feels that he's putting himself above all of them to protect the world, because that's what Superman would do. He feels that it's his choice, and it's his decision to want to stand at the apex of being the hero of all of them, and be this guiding light for all of them, this shining hope. But a part of him just wants to be a regular guy. He just wants to be Clark Kent. And that's what you're getting in this. And it's not, and like I said, I don't want to put the man who has everything storyline there where he goes where it's all about Krypton and Krypton was destroyed. No. It's it's more in the fact of this version of Clark does not have that strong ties towards Krypton. He doesn't know very much about Krypton. This version of Clark is just wants to be a regular guy, a regular type of Joe in Smallville with his mom and his dad, and he's he has his own place. He and everything is perfectly fine. The only thing that's changed is we meet Lana Lang. We meet Lana Lang, and they've been dating since junior high, and they got married when they became 19 years old. So they've been together for I'm sorry for close to 11 years. They've been married for a very long time, and he never met Lois, and I know how people are gonna feel about that. Wait a minute, what about Lois? Well, he never became Superman, so how would Lois be and contribute to this? That makes absolutely no sense. So I decided to make an older Lana Lang, and that storyline bloomed. So you get Clark just living his life. He's going to the tractor trailer. He's talking to his mom and dad every night. He's drinking a beer with his dad. They're playing, parcheesi or chess or checkers or playing cards or whatever. He's just living a natural life. Him and Lana Lang are dating, and they're married. He has a boy. He named his son Connor, and he's just doing everyday things, but slowly he's starting to realize there's something wrong, and he starts to notice it earlier than even Bruce and Diana. And the only reason why is he sees Lex Luthor on TV, and a part of him just gets angrier and angrier, like for no apparent reason. He just gets angry about Lex. Like he just has this unabidingly anger towards this guy. Supposedly he's never met him before. And we know that he's met him. We all know that Superman has met Lex. But in this universe, in this portion of his mind, he's never met Lex. And his parents are wondering what the heck is going on. Why are you so angry at this guy? He's who cares? He's just a rich guy that basically is just trying to make a living. And Clark just feels that this man is an evil person, and he's not good. And he gets into a fight with Lana. He starts talking to his mom and dad, like, you guys don't know what's going on. There's something else going on here. It just doesn't feel right. And then he starts getting weird nightmares that honestly, one his father's supposed to be dead, and on top of that, he's supposed to have the powers of a god. And then he gets the nightmare of Darkseid destroying the Earth, and it's now a barren wasteland. He sees Batman. He sees Bruce and Diana in chains. He sees Diana Diana being whipped by what supposedly is going to be Granny Goodness, and she becomes a Fury. He sees Batman being basically his skin being peeled off, and he's screaming in absolute pain. He sees Arthur. He sees the Barry. It's like he's getting the worst nightmare he has ever seen of people he's supposedly never met before, and he doesn't know where this is coming from. He doesn't know why he's thinking to these people. He goes to a psychiatrist. He does all the things he normally does. And I don't want to get into a lot of the nuanced details, but you guys get an understanding. It's like he is literally trying to fight the Black Mercy. He's fighting the Black Mercy with everything he possibly can. His subconscious is, but his conscious mind is so enamored by everything that's going on. He doesn't see the absolute truth. And he's fighting it more than even Bruce or Diana. And that's mainly because Bruce, he's living the life he wants. His parents are freaking alive. He's never Batman. He's not everything he's ever done. It's like his soul got cleansed. And but for Clark, like I said before, he wants to be Superman, but he also wants to be just Clark Kent. And that's the thing about this version of Kal-El that I think that everyone should appreciate. We all have a part of ourselves that we want to, just be selfish towards ourselves. But we have to put that away sometimes and be the bigger person. And that's what Clark does all the time. That's what Superman does all the time. He puts away his selfish desires and puts the world ahead of himself. And if, I don't care what anybody says, if anybody in the comments says that's not what Superman does, I go, yes, he does. He will put the planet first before his own happiness. He always will do that because he feels it's the right thing to do. It's what any hero would do. And that's what I want emphasized with this version of Clark. He's fighting because he does want to be Superman, but he also wants to be Clark Kent. And he's putting his selfish desires away so the world will have a hero, and he does it right. This is one of the building blocks of his character that we're starting to slowly see. He's putting his selfish desires away. Him wanting to have a wife, him wanting to have a family, him wanting to not have his powers, him not wanting to have the responsibility of the planet. He's putting that all away to say, no, the world needs Superman. And that's why he's getting the images of Batman and Wonder Woman and Barry and Aquaman and Victor and Martian Manhunter and all these heroes he's meeting. They're all gonna die if he decides he doesn't want to be Superman, because he has to be Superman. And that's emphasized in a lot of his nightmares. That's the budding of Superman's character, his core right there. And like I said before, he's putting his selfishness away so he could be a selfless hero that we all know that he is. But the Black Mercy is trying to make this world so appealing that he cannot want to leave, but he wants to leave. He wants to leave, and that's why he's getting angry about Lex. And also his anger towards Bruce, his deep anger towards Bruce, even though he kind of understands why Bruce went that way, but that last memory of Bruce holding a spear to his throat, and that's the last thing he remembers. But then now, getting to know Bruce, he understands this is Bruce. This is Batman. He has to be a ruthless person because the type of villains he has to deal with, they show no mercy. And he has to be a person that gives mercy if he feels like it. And that's why he's a true symbol of fear, but he's supposed to be a representation of justice. And that's why he starts to and when he finally does break out, he gets mad, very livid that this is happening to him, because he doesn't know what the heck happens to him. And in parts of him, you're starting to see that Lois is sitting there screaming, trying to get this thing off of him. And she's sitting there trying to figure out what the heck is going on. He calls Victor. Victor is using his technology trying to scan this device. He doesn't know who the heck sent it. Also, they're trying to get in contact with Bruce and Diana, and they don't know where the heck they at, because Bruce is somewhere else that they don't know, and Alfred can't track him, and Diana's someplace else, and no one knows where she's at, so they don't know where these three people are at. And but Aquaman, Barry travels the planet. He runs everywhere to try to figure out where Bruce is at, because if he can find Bruce, they can find freaking Diana. That's the thing. If they can find Bruce, they can get Bruce to help them find Diana. So the first thing, one of the things is they go to Bruce's, they go back to the Batcave. They talk to Alfred, and they find out that Alfred says, well, he says that he was gonna go here, and I think that's where he's at. And they go, okay, so they go there, and they don't find him. But Barry picks up a forensic clue, and he starts doing his own version of a detective work. And they're going, and he finds out that Bruce went to Nanda Parbat. And they're like, what the heck is he doing there? And Alfred gets afraid because he thinks it can't be him. There's no way he would go anywhere near there. They're like, why? And he mentions the name Ra's al Ghul. And Barry goes, who? Victor goes, who? Aquaman goes, you have got to be kidding me. You're telling me that he went to Nanda Parbat? And that's when he says, yeah, he went to go see. He goes, Ra's al Ghul. Oh man, even I know that guy. And you're like, what? He goes, yeah, I traveled the world. I know a good amount of people, and there's a few people that even I stay the heck away from. And he says that Ra's al Ghul is one of them. So they're like, whoa. They go, and Barry goes, okay, well, I'm gonna get. They go, nope. So basically, Aquaman says, no, I'll go and go deal with it. If he's with him, then I'll be the one that goes in there and gets him. He goes, so he goes there, finds Bruce. Bruce is hemmed up inside of a cave. He's laid out in the cave with the Black Mercy on him. He's like, what the heck? And that's when you meet Talia for the first time in this DCEU. And she says that she's been looking for the beloved for a long time, and she wants to tell him some news. And he goes, well, I got to get him back first, and she goes, what the heck is that thing doing on him? And he says, well, I don't know what the heck this is. What is it? She goes, I've heard legends about this thing. My father told me to stay the heck away from it. It's a parasite. She calls it something in Arabic, but in your tongue, and he goes, the Black Mercy. She goes, you can speak. He goes, yeah, I can speak a lot of languages, honey. And you're like, wow. So she's like, I'm very impressed. He goes, okay, so it's the Black Mercy. How do we get it off him? She goes, the only person that can break out of it is the beloved. And he goes, okay, well, how do we get to him? She goes, well, we can only talk, because we got to speak to him in a way that makes him know that we're on the outside. He's the only one that can break the hold. And she goes, it might be too enticing because it's giving him his greatest, it's revealing his greatest regrets, and it's giving him his just desires. So anything he truly desires, it's giving it to him. And Arthur is wondering, like, what the heck does this guy ever want? And she goes, you really don't know what he would ever want, do you? He goes, and Alfred's sitting there going, oh boy. And he goes, his mom and dad. If his mom and dad are alive, he will never ever leave. And Arthur's like, oh crap. Like, he knows right off the bat. So he picks up Bruce, says, okay, I gotta go. So he takes him, he goes, and he tries to get the heck out of there. Talia says, no, I'll come with you. He goes, no, I don't think you really want to come with me. So she stays. She says, well, if he ever awakes, give him this. He takes it and he looks at it, and he doesn't know what the heck it is. She goes, only the beloved knows what it is. And he goes, okay, whatever. And he leaves. So he get him back to Star Labs, and then they're like, okay, so how the hell we're gonna find Wonder Woman? She could be anywhere. And Alfred goes, huh? And he uses some technology, and basically they talk to some people at her job and says, is Diana Prince there? He goes, no. He goes, well, she did get a note from an old friend of hers. He goes, an old friend. He goes, yeah, her name is Minerva. And they go, Minerva. And he goes, yeah, his name is Barbara Ann. Her name is Barbara Ann. And they type it in. And he goes, oh boy. And that's when they know about Cheetah. And they said that the last time they heard of Cheetah, she's supposed to be dead. And they're like, oh, this is not good. So basically they try to track down Cheetah, but they don't find Cheetah. They find Diana, and she's in a sarcophagus. And Barry gets her the heck out of there, and they see it's the Black Mercy also, and they get her out of there. So when they get all three of them, because Superman's attacked also, of course, they get them there, and that's when you get them to the apex of the movie, the climax of the movie, where Bruce gets out of it. Bruce gets out of it, and and the Black Mercy starts to wither, and it starts to wrap onto him, and he's sitting there screaming in pain because it's trying to knock him back out, and they try to get it off of him, but then Arthur tries to grab onto it and rip it off. And then when he tries to wrap onto him, he's like, oh my God, get this thing off me. He goes, get this damn sushi off me. You get some comedy scenes out of it, but it's getting serious because this Black Mercy literally has a mouth on it, and it's trying to get these tentacles right on top of his chest. He's like, get this thing off of me. And they're like, oh my God. So they basically seal this out of a tube, and Victor says, okay, I got to study this thing. So Batman's sitting there going, and he reveals that what the heck happened? Where's my mom? He goes, where are they? He's getting angry, and then Barry walks over and goes, no, Bruce, it's us. And he goes, and then he reveals that So they talk for a little bit, and he reveals that he was with his parents, and they're like, oh, and Alfred says, he goes, that's exactly, he goes, what would be for Diana? And they're like, I don't know. And then Bruce says, if she never left the island, and they're like, that would be her biggest regret. He goes, yeah, think about it. That means that she never would have fell in love, but then the man that she fell in love with would never have died, and all the stuff that she saw, that she's seen man worlds do, all the horrors that we've done, she never would see it. That's a big regret. She probably would have regretted that she could stay with her mother on her island and with her sisters. They're like, oh, that would make sense. Alfred goes, of course it makes sense. Of course it makes sense. So you get her, the moment they try to figure out what they're gonna do, she wakes up and starts grabbing this thing off of it, and they're like, what the heck? So why is it Superman getting out of it? And they're like, oh. So you kind of find out that all three of these things are telepathically linked. If one of them gets unlinked, the others give it's the power of its telepathic link to the last, so it would keep at least one of them in submission. And they're like, what the heck is this thing? So they don't know what the heck it is. They analyze it further. They find out that it's an interplanetary thing. It's an interdimensional. It's an interdimensional parasite, basically. And they don't know where it comes from. So they call the Green Lantern, and the Green Lantern says he doesn't know where the heck this thing comes from. So they're like trying to figure out what it was, and guess who shows up? Batman says, okay, there's only one person I can think of that might know the heck this thing is. They're like, who? And then he goes, so he goes and he arrives in Fawcett City. Yes, he goes to see Shazam. Batman and Wonder Woman go and see Shazam. And he's like, who? And they go, well, we're going to need your help. And the parents are sitting there going, they're like, why do you need his help? And then he says, all right, fine. Okay, Superman is knocked out. We need his help. We need your help to get him out of it. And they're like, what the heck? So they're like, oh, okay. So basically they go, and this is the time they don't reveal what they truly saw. So the only thing for Batman is he just says that he was with his parents, but there was a lot more. But Alfred understands what it is. He understands, but Bruce does not say anything. So again, you go through this hubbub, and Shazam says, "Oh, he knows exactly what this thing is." He goes, "Yeah, it's a Black Mercy. It's from Magical Plane number 55." And he goes, "Okay, I think I know how to get this thing off." So he goes back to the Rock of Eternity and goes and gets this stick. He gets this stick and he pokes it on top of it. He puts it right in a particular place, and you see it go, and it starts to soothe itself, and then it starts to let go of Superman and wraps onto it, and he just stays into the trance, and he says, I got to get all of these guys out of here. He goes, well, okay, so they get it out of there, and Superman slowly wakes up. He slowly wakes up. And then they don't say nothing like, hey, what the heck happened? They don't want to talk about it. And they say, okay, well, that's fine. So, I'm sorry. So, towards the end of the movie, Bruce is sitting in the Batcave. Wonder Woman, you get a knock at the door. Wonder Woman is coming in. She says, hi, can I speak to Bruce? And then Superman flies in. Of course, he flies through the waterfall. And he lands, and Batman's just like, well, what's going on? What do you need? He goes, I kind of want to talk about what I saw. And then she goes, it's the same thing here. And Bruce goes, well, I'm no psychiatrist, so I don't know what you want me to talk about. He goes, Bruce, we do need to talk about what we saw. And he says that Clark reveals that the only thing that got him through it was Wonder Woman and Batman. And you see Diana go, she kind of smiles to herself and she goes, yeah, that's the only thing that got me through it. That they saw their symbols. Batman saw Wonder Woman and Clark, and it opened his eyes a little bit further. Diana saw Clark and Bruce, which opened her eyes a little bit. Saw the symbols of Batman and Batman and Superman, and it actually opened her eyes a little bit more. And the same goes for Clark. But he reveals also that that he that he noticed that a long time ago, but he kept playing the game because he wanted to find out more about this plant, like what was going on with this thing, like is it messing with him or anything like that. And you did get the hint of it, like he was trying to figure out what the heck this thing was, almost from the almost from the very beginning. So so he so you get Batman kind of snickering himself, and he kind of goes like, and they talk it out, and you see them just sitting there, and then Alfred comes down, and he comes down and makes a plate and everything else, and he says, I made food for everybody, come on upstairs and eat. And so you have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. They're sitting at the dinner table, and they're eating, and Superman's in his suit. He's in a Superman suit, and he sits down, and Bruce sits down in his bat, top, he has his trunks on and everything. He doesn't have all his full bat suit on, but he's sitting down, and you have Wonder Woman sitting down in with her armor, and they just look at each other, and then they kind of smile, they kind of give each other a smile, like this, it feels like this is something they should have been doing a long time ago. Like this is something that they feel like they should have been doing a long time ago. And then Alfred sits down, sits the food down and everything, and they just kind of look at it, and they start taking bites and eats and everything else. And you see um like a pan, like it's panning around the table a little bit, and you see Bruce just sitting there, kind of, just talking, and he's kind of doing hand signals, saying like, of the adventures he did, like all the stuff he did. You see Superman just kind of just look, just kind of sitting there, and he's laughing, laughing. They're telling each other stories, and Bruce is telling a lot of the stories he's done when he was Batman. Wonder Woman was talking about the time that she took on monsters and all this and that. You see Bruce is sitting there just shaking his head and smiling a little bit. You see also you see Clark just going, like he's shocked, like whoa, whoa. And you see Superman just coming and saying, hey, he did this and this. And you see Wonder Woman going, she's nodding and everything. You see Bruce is sitting there, looking at, he's sitting there just kind of nodding. And that's what I wanted to. That's what I want to show in this movie. It's literally Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman having a dinner, and they're talking about their misadventures. Like they're just talking about like, hey, this stuff I did. What did you do? Oh, I did this, and they're having fun around with each other. Bruce is being Bruce. He's not being regressful. He's actually being a little bit more open. And also, again, this is an older Bruce. This is a much older Bruce, and he's still plagued with what happened with a lot of the things. But these are the type of movies I want to see us create, that keeps it within the Snyder universe, but it builds the friendship between Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman a little bit more. Each movie, we're seeing them build as a great team, and Batman is being the direct, Superman's being the hopeful, and Wonder Woman's being basically the mother hen. And that's how we would like to see it. That all of them are just starting to get to know each other a little bit more. And then at the very end, they ask one question. Bruce asks one question. He goes, where did this thing come from? He goes, we never really asked that question. And then Clark's like, well, you're the detective. I think this is a job for not just Superman, but for Batman. And Batman is looking at him like, ugh, I'll get on it. She goes, no, let's just let it go. Let it go. I think that was the best thing that ever happened to us. I think it was a self-reflection. Like this was something that we needed in our lives to get us to a point where we can now talk to each other. We can now be around each other. He goes, this is the first time in a long time I can actually sit down and let my hair down. I can actually be myself. I can be, and then Superman goes, happier? She goes, and you have her kind of nod a little bit, and he goes, and Bruce goes, Lex. And they go, what? Lex did this. Lex did this. That's the only thing I could think of. He goes, Lex gave us a plan that was actually going to make us stronger. He goes, no, think about it. He was going to try to get rid of us. Giving us a plan given us something that can give us our greatest desires. I mean that can get us out of the way for a good long time. What the heck happened during that time we were knocked out, or when the other guys were trying to help get us out of it? What the heck happened? So Superman's in there going, you know what? That's a day for another time. I mean, I I, I kind of like this. I kind of like this. And Batman's just like the never-ending fight. Of course, no problem. Like he's like whatever. It's perfectly fine. He's willing to let it go for one night. And Wonder was sitting there going, wow, wow, not so stern all the time, is he? And Batman's looking at her like, he just kind of looks away a little bit. So you have the story being built and the foundation being built, and it's something we should see. We should see them just sitting down and having a dinner, and they're just talking about their misadventures. And it's not them at a diner; it's them at Bruce's house. It's at them at Bruce's house, and then um, at the very end of the whole situation, at the very end of the scene, I mean, Batman's leading him out of the door, and Clark says, we should do this once in a while. She goes, and Wonder Woman goes, you're right, we should. Why don't we do this once in a while? And and Bruce is like, well, next time at my house. And then Wonder Woman says, no, how about my home? So we need to go to Paris, right? She goes, well, why not? You got a jet and he could fly. Why not? And he goes, that'll be fine with me. Batman's like, all right, that's good with me. So they build it up, and then when Superman about to lift off, Bruce goes, I still think it's Lex. And then both of them go, leave it alone, Bruce. Like, just leave it alone. It's perfectly fine. We'll study where the heck this thing comes from, and we'll move the heck on. So, so then you get back to the Black Mercy plant, and then all of a sudden, the Black Mercy starts to wither. It starts to wither, and it turns itself into dust. All three of them, and then you hear this voice, and this voice tells you, I thought I finally was able to get rid of the soups. Get rid of the big blue Boy Scout. I guess I'm gonna have to try and try and try again. And then you're kind of the camera kind of moves. He goes, no, 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 down here, dummy. And you look down, and it's Mitzias Spitlick. It's Mitzias Spitlick. And you're like, what? And he goes, you jokers thought this was a Lex plan? You guys thought that Mongol was gonna show up? Oh, wait a minute. You may thought it might have been the other guy? Nah, it was me. I'm the one that did it. I'm the guy. You need to fear Mitzias Spitlick. And you're like, what? And then his music, and he'll doom, and you see the little circle go. And he goes, hey, wait, no, no, no. And then the music blares, and you have the credits. That's how you end this movie. It literally was Mitzias Spitlick who pulled a prank on Superman, and basically to get rid of the Trinity. He was basically doing this he was doing this to the Trinity. And he pulled it off as a big gigantic prank, and this was our introduction to Mitzias Spitlick. And that's how I would do the first Trinity movie. It literally was the first introduction of Mitzias Spitlick. And I would enjoy the movie. I think a lot of people would. I think a lot of people would have a great time with it. It's a deep rooted movie, but it has some comedic value in there, and also it's not a Justice League movie, but of course the Justice League is going to get involved because the three big heavy hitters are being attacked. You got Batman being taken out. Where the heck is he at? Wonder Woman got taken out, and now Superman. And the whole movie was revolved around the fact that this was supposed to be basically a self-reflectional movie to get them to become friends. And that's what the whole thing was about. It was them to become friends. Mitzias Spitlick just basically did a good deed for the day. But it was a gigantic prank. That's how he wanted to do it. And it was on Superman. That's all it was. It was supposed to make Superman feel like, hey, he's homesick, or he doesn't have the girl of his dreams, or this or that. That he's supposed to be a sad guy. And he's never met him. He's never met Spitlick yet. And now this guy's coming into this universe and pulling the pranks. And I would keep the constant, and I would keep the consistency of that. This version, the movie version that I would introduce is the same Mitch's Spitlick that we see in every version of Superman movies and cartoons, and also even TV shows. It's the same one. The same one. There's nothing else that's changed except his look. And that's how I would do it. So DC Trinity. That's how I would do the movie. I hope you guys enjoy. Like, comment, share, subscribe down below. Hit that bell. Like I said, this is one of the other videos I'm gonna have out. There's a huge thing about the Snyder Cut. I've heard. I want to talk about it a little bit, and I want to send it out there and see what people are saying. All right, you guys have a great one. Thank you for joining me, and you guys have a great day. Tomorrow is Christmas. I will have these videos out. Thank you. Bye.